Welcome to our first video for the Algebra 2 series, Variables and Expressions. What we'll look at as we go through this video is a brief introduction and review of some of the topics you should have already studied in Algebra 1. To begin, let's look at variables. Variables are symbols used to represent some unknown quantity, some unknown number. Usually we'll end up using English letters for those. So for example, I could use the letters X, Y, Z, or A, B, and C to represent some number that I don't know. When we're talking about numbers, we can also work with numbers in what are called expressions. There's two types. First are numerical expressions. And a numerical expression is a pair or group of numbers connected by operations. Things like addition, subtraction, multiplication, all that good stuff. A few examples of some simple numerical expressions are 5 minus 9, 2 times 3, 9 divided by 4, and I could keep going. The second type of expression is an algebraic expression. An algebraic expression is an expression that includes variables, and there are two vocab words that go along with these algebraic expressions. First, anytime that we have a number in front of a variable, that number is known as a coefficient. Second, any number that we have that has no variable is known as a constant. Now here are a few brief examples of some algebraic expressions. 2x minus 3, 3 times the sum of x and 7, 5a plus 2ab, and I could keep going. When we go about simplifying expressions, this is one of our types of problems we can work with. There's two main branches. For numerical expressions, what we're going to do is combine numbers by the order of operations, PEMDAS. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division left to right, addition and subtraction left to right. And a quick example to kind of get your mind back on that. If we take 5 plus 3 times 2, multiplication happens before addition. 3 times 2 is 6. So now we have 5 plus 6. 5 plus 6 is equal to 11. So the simplified form of that numerical expression is 11. For an algebraic expression, we need to think about the terms. And the terms are the single parts of an expression. If I look at 2x minus 8, for example, there are two terms. We have 2x and we have 8 that are separated by our subtraction. Terms can be thought of as like terms if they have the same variables, or if they don't have any variables at all. And we can combine like terms by looking for what have the same variables and combining the coefficients. So a quick example to remind you about that. If we have 2x plus 5y minus x, we can combine 2x and minus x because they share variables, whereas 2x and 5y have different variables. Now 2x minus x gives us x, which means our simplified expression is x plus 5y. There are a number of properties used in simplifying expressions. I'm not going to go through all of them here. I'll just review a few basic ones that are rather handy. First is the idea of subtraction. And subtraction is really just addition of negative numbers. So I can write 5 minus 2 as 5 plus negative 2. Second, we have the distributive property, which allows us to take a number or a variable outside of parentheses and distribute it to everything within the parentheses. 2 times x is 2x, 2 times minus 2 is minus 4. Third, we have multiplication by 0. Any number that we multiply by 0 is going to be 0. So 0 times 4 is 0, 0 times 0 is 0, 0 times a is 0. Fourth, we have multiplication by negative 1. If I take a negative number times a positive number, we get a negative number as an answer. If I take a negative number times a negative number, we get a positive number as an answer. And fifth, we have the idea of division. Now you have to note, we cannot divide a number by 0. But with that in mind, if I'm taking something like 2 divided by 4, I can write it in two other ways. I can make it the fraction 2 over 4, or I can make it the number 2 multiplied by 1/4. Typically, I'm going to use the fraction form. Now that we're past simplifying expressions, the second method of solving expressions is evaluating an expression. To evaluate an expression, we substitute the variable or variables with a number and then solve using our order of operations. So for example, if we have 3x minus 2 and we want to evaluate that for x equals 3, we're going to replace x with the number 3. When we do that, we now have 3 times 3 minus 2. Multiplication comes before subtraction, so 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 minus 2 gives us 7. 7 then would be the simplified form of the expression that we get as we evaluate. The third and final method we're going to look at for working with expressions is writing an algebraic expression from some real-world situation. In our example, what we're working with is you run a business where you receive $20 for power washing and $15 for raking leaves. To write our algebraic expression, we need our numbers, we need our variables, and we need the operations that are going on in between them. So, let's define some variables. We're going to let W be the number of power washing jobs, and we're going to let R be the number of raking leaf jobs. When we do that, we're going to be connecting 20 with W and 15 with R because that's where they relate in our story. Then, what we can do is take 20W plus 15R because in our business, both of these will be making money. We'll be adding them up to figure out our total amount of money. That concludes what we're going to look at for this video. For practice and examples, we're going to go on to our next video, Variables and Expressions Practice. Thanks for watching and have a good day.